approval of budget amendments. We have none?
That was the way.
All those in favor say aye. You'll say aye down here for that. Sure. Okay. Motion passes. Next, we have discussed the possible action approval of second ARPA installments for recent meetings, SUD and Medina River West Water Supply Company. Mr. Alexander.
Yes, sir.
Tell us how you're spending this money.
We have spent the first.
In 2 minutes or less.
Sure. We've spent the first draw. We've purchased a fixed base generator for the Creekwood water system, which we recently took over. And we've actually put the rest towards the construction of a 500,000 gallon water storage tank in Pierce, County Road 5701. You can see some of the stuff we're doing. We have a new 250,000 gallon elevated tank on County Road 4516. And we have a new 500,000 gallon one 5701 to improve service. Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we have Medina River West Water Supply Corporation. You're not.
No, sir. No, sir.
So they also, and you check these Edward, everything's good?
Everything's redacted. You know everything's redacted. We actually redacted it.
You redacted it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Auditor says it's good.
So, and the Medina River West, that's their final payment.
Right. They only got 97.
They got 97.
Okay.
Move we move second. Our vote is on.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussion possible action on approval of accounts payable.
Yes, $1,262,673.51. And we have two down for the East Medina and the Medina River West payments, which total $246,167.53.
Welcome back. The roofing one, the 145,000. I mean, that's actually insurance, right?
I'm sorry.
The 145,000 for the MR roofing. Is that an insurance?
Yes.
It goes into the 12 fund and back out. Okay. Move to approve the accounts payable, including the 2 add-ons.
The phone line right now is.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have discussed the possible action on approval of disbursement of funds since the last commissioner's report.
Total is $51,678.76 for utilities.
I move we approve the disbursement of funds since last week.
All right. It looks like this gets almost as big as the other list, doesn't it? Look like this list is getting almost as big as our current list.
A lot of utilities were in there. Motion is second, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have visitors' public comment, and we have Ms. Judy Clark with the Medina County Republican Party. Ms. Clark, come on out.
My name is Julie Clark. I am here representing the Medina County Republican Party. Our borders are being invaded. As your elected Republican officials, you've had weeks to act to protect the people in this county and the people in the state of Texas, because our open borders affect everyone in this country. The failure to secure our border is intentional, stemming from a deep desire among various industries to attain cheap labor at the expense of U.S. national security, safe communities, low-wage labor markets, and a sensible immigration system that serves the interests of citizens. Politicians in both parties repeatedly push amnesty in defiance of their constituents and citizens in an attempt to benefit powerful entrenched interests and secure potential long-term political power for a surge of new voters. It is not only unlawful and anti-ethical to be oaths that elected officials have sworn, but it also deeply is destructive to the vitality of American communities. Violent international drug cartels operating as little more than narco-terrorists control large sections of the United States southern border. These criminals operate highly sophisticated human trafficking rings, flood American communities with drugs and violence, and serve as a connective tissue that keeps violent criminal gangs like MS-13 in business in major American cities. It is clear that the Biden administration has no interest in pursuing the federal policies necessary to secure our southern borders. Therefore, given the federal government's lack of duty, it is now incumbent on governors and states to fill the void and do what federal officials and lawmakers refuse to do. End the invasion at the southern U.S. border and restore both border and sovereignty.
Yeah.
There can be no dispute that the influx of well over 1.3 million illegal aliens this calendar year alone, and thousands of pounds of fentanyl and other deadly narcotics facilitated by the widespread human trafficking efforts and violent international drug cartel constitutes an invasion of the southern border of the United States. These cartels effectively have operational control over huge sections of our southern border. Data provided by the Border Patrol in March 2021 estimated that cartels and human trafficking organizations are earning nearly $14 million a day moving people illegally across the southern border. These violent international cartels are raking in billions of dollars every year off the pain and suffering and abuse of migrants. Most legal drugs and narcotics enter the U.S. through our southern border. The DEA reports also outline that fentanyl fentanyl, a deadly narcotic that is smuggled into the U.S. by violent international drug cartel, is primarily responsible for fueling the ongoing opioid epidemic. This killed nearly 37,000 Americans in 2019 and a horrific almost 60,000 people in 2020. Governors and state legislatures have a duty to their constituents, their fellow citizens, neighbors, and families by the oath that you have taken to uphold both the United States Constitution and the state constitution. In your response that illegal aliens do not constitute an invasion. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 explicitly permits state board powers to be exercised if the state is invaded. The clause says, no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty to punish, keep troops, or ships of war in peacetime, enter any agreement or contract to any other state or foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger that it will not admit delay. There is no limitation within the text of what constitutes an invasion. The framers were keenly aware that the threats to the states were not limited to foreign armies from Great Britain or Spain, but also some nations of Indians, pirates, and other external lawless groups intended on inflicting harm or seeking other ends at the expense of Americans.
Ms. Clark, just a minute. Since we heard 3 minutes, we've already let you go about 4 or 5, so I don't know if you're about to wrap it up.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
I'll finish up. Therefore, the original meaning of the word invasion contained in Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution encompasses all external threats to the safety, security, or well-being of the United States and their citizens. We are happy to hear that Medina County received TDM grants funds to protect our community. We would like to know how much these grants were and an itemized list of where these funds were used. In the proclamation referenced by Abbott, this only discusses Section 418.014. We would like for you to file an invasion under Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. It is your duty and your oath of office to protect the people in this county. We need you to file a declaration of invasion for our county.
Next, I have Sheena Rodriguez. Hi, and I'm sorry, I should have told Ms. Clark 3 minutes, but our rule is 3 minutes, and you can do
I
that.
got you. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes. So I am Sheena Rodriguez. I'm with Alliance for Safe Texas, Secure the Border, and I'm also from Tarrant County, so several hours away. As a matter of fact, about 7. As a matter of fact, 2 of our counties, surrounding counties, just recently declared this as an act of invasion. Because you see, while you guys are feeling the brunt of it down here, they don't stay here, right? The drugs, some of them do. The pizza, some of them do. The cartel are everywhere. As a matter of fact, they're heavily present in my area. So I know that it was referenced before that that some of the counties up there that are recently declared don't really have a basis to do so. But I'm here to stand here and say that in Collin County, one of my neighboring counties, it's over 458% increase according to that sheriff of fentanyl-related deaths. Tarrant County up 60%. We have human smuggling cases in my county and the surrounding counties. I could show you photos recently sent from a Wise County citizen where they just declared, showing where some of these illegals still wear cartel wristbands were recently dumped off there. This impacts all of Texas. We have to stand united. We have to say, yeah, this is a very real problem. And declaring this as the act of invasion that it is, or urging our state elected officials and our governor to do so, we are doing exactly that. And it's not necessarily targeting the illegal aliens that are pouring over and incentivized to come. No, it is targeting the cartel criminal organizations that are in every single town, every single neighborhood, across every single one of our 254 counties. We need you to do what is right, to protect your citizens that have elected you guys in your respective offices, because this isn't a partisan issue. This isn't about politics. People are dying. Our children are dying. Our children from our areas are the ones that are being recruited and smuggled from the DFW area. We're a targeted area. This impacts all of us. So I drove over 7 hours to stand in front of you and represent the North Texas area to say that we support you guys in supporting and defending your citizens, and also that we want to come together as a united Texas because it does impact every single one of us. So thank you guys very much for everything that you guys do. Please do what is morally right. Thank you guys.
Thank you. So, Commissioner, just so I can comment. Be careful, he does not use the word invading, but he does put Medina County into that. And subsequent to last meeting, we were added to the governor's declaration of disaster, which is about as strong as we can get as far as protecting. The piece of paper that we would pass in this court wouldn't be worth the paper it's written on because it would not do anything, because we are already being protected under the governor's declaration. Something else that was stated, but it will not say that we are being invaded. It will not state, incorrectly state the law like the declaration of disaster that I've been provided does. Because and I've sent it to you in an email. My response, not the president would like to have copies of it, and have copies sent Mr. Parker's response yesterday, explaining to her why passing the declaration in this court would have zero bearing on what's going to happen. Because the state of Texas has already passed that declaration of disaster. And the governor, I've talked to the governor's office, I've talked to TDM, and they are doing everything they can within the law to protect our borders. Our sheriff is doing everything within the law to protect our borders. He's constantly pulling people over. We just approved 6 more deputies for him to hire to help protect the citizens of this county. And but I'm just saying the document itself that y'all are asking me to pass has zero meaning to the governor's office or to what's going on in this county.
Well, we have to address that if we can.
Yes.
Move on to your comments.
Please.
Sure.
Yes, actually would.
While you are correct, and this is with all due respect, please, understand, while you are correct, the paper in itself does not have any necessary weight behind it, right? It's that, like I said, we are standing as a United Texas. I would like, if you can, specifically to cite where exactly it says that we are unable to do more. I understand that there have been some cases that have been cited. Those are opinions back in the 1990s. Those are not law. And we are not, again, trying to...
Let me correct you.
Yes.
There are federal appellate court decisions
Yes.
that are footnoted on Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution in California, Colorado, and Texas, and that is law. I'm sorry, that's law.
I'm familiar with ones that you're citing, and I have friends that are litigation lawyers. They are actually in D.C. Those are opinions. So interpretations. And if you may, if you can, please, on a case that has ever been ruled on, stating that we cannot declare invasion against the criminal cartel organizations because one does not exist. And that is exactly what this declaration that we are to do, right? And I think it's trying to target, and I think it is, by those and the executive order that was signed, right, by Governor Abbott, declaring this as a state of emergency.
So it was a proclamation.
Proclamation, forgive me, yes. that states that this was, a state of emergency, that several counties, as a matter of fact, Throckmorton County, not too far from my area, was a part of, they did receive TM funding for their local government and officials and sheriff's departments to be able to help, deal with this influx, right? And however they're affected directly. And so, while I don't see, like you are correct, there's no direct, it doesn't have to be except to converge and show that we already done in Texas, but the benefits of it is also allows y'all's county to once again be eligible for potentially more TM funding and grants. So I know that you guys are dealing with a massive influx like everyone else is. We all need, and I'm sure the sheriff's office would also appreciate more funding, which by simply declaring this and saying, yeah, you know what, we're recognizing that this is a problem, and we are wanting to stand with the rest of Texas and wanting to urge, like, let's go ahead, this is scary, right? This is unprecedented. It's never been done, and I understand that. It's all correct. But there is no opinion, there is no case, again, specifically stating that, yeah, we cannot go after the cartel organizations, which this does, but there is benefits to this county, which, once the information has been received, if this county has already received some type of grant funding out of the last, joining that last declaration, we all need help. Every county needs help, and that is the benefit as well, to almost reinstitute and then just once again encouraging. There's nothing illegal about doing so.
Just so you know,
Yes.
Medina County is listed under the governor's proclamation because of the influx of, we're 4 counties away from the border, but every day our sheriff is fighting somebody, stopping somebody, pulling people over. That's why we were on there. If I had to guess, Wise County, Throckmorton County, and Tarrant County, where you're from, are probably not listed because they're not necessarily, in the governor's eyes, in a disaster area as is Medina County in the governor's eyes. We aren't in a disaster area. And I think, just so you know, by us being on that proclamation, it does open us up to all the TM grants, the Lone Star grants, and whatever else we apply for that our Beverly's working on. Though we are available, they're available to us because the governor has put us on that list. And again, I would, if you want to have, I'm a recovering lawyer, okay, I don't practice anymore, but I was a litigation lawyer when I was practicing, and I promise you you call them opinions, they're federal court affirmed decisions made by federal court. That is the law of the land, unless somebody else comes in and changes it. So, your litigation lawyers, if they want to call me and explain to me the law, I'd be more than happy to talk to them. But I'm just going to tell you, you have a federal court case, it's in an appellate court, and they make a decision, that's the law. Until some other court comes over, probably the Supreme Court, and changes the law, that is the law. And I, as a lawyer, am destined to follow the law. The governor, in his declaration, just so you know, he very carefully never used the word invasion because the governor is a former attorney general of the state of Texas. He's got an attorney general working for him. And I'm certain that that's why he didn't use the word invasion, because yes, while we are being invaded, I don't disagree with you. It doesn't fit the law, and that's probably why we wrote it the way we wrote it.
Yes, sir. Let me go quickly, and I apologize for taking so much time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being
It's
here.
fine, it's bad.
Yes, I drove 5 miles, right? So thank you very much. Throckmorton County, which is in North Central, actually was on that. And again, why? Because while we're not directly close to hundreds of miles away, as presented before, we are directly impacted, even more so in different ways. And also, I understand what you're saying and I respect it. But with all due respect, again, being an advocate for Roe versus Wade was once, but a meeting that was released, and that was just overturned. And unfortunately, right now, we're in a state where with our children dying, and people being exploited, and children being trafficked, claiming and saying that it's a federal issue simply because it has never been done before, is no longer an acceptable answer to the children's mother who lost her son to a fentanyl overdose, which I know several of them, and to the children that are being sex trafficked through our state to the woman who was just shut up on Highway 90 by another smuggler, right? Over 10 rounds, it's just not an acceptable answer, so.
I agree with you,
Yes.
and just to kind of,
Yes.
I will just tell you, I was in DC in February. I sit on a national board, people from all over the United States are on that board with me. And I did a presentation almost reflecting what Ms. Clark said about the number of fentanyl, how much fentanyl is coming across, the number of underage minors coming across, everything else. I wouldn't say it fell on deaf ears, but it fell on dumb ears. Because nobody even knew that was going on except us here in Texas, because our federal government is where we need to turn to.
And they don't care.
The state is doing everything within the state's power. Our federal government they don't care. You just said it.
They don't care about us. They
We
don't
have an
care.
administration that is willing to just keep people coming across and not care about it. And the only way we can change that is hopefully in November, we'll have a new group of people in there that will have some power, but it won't happen permanently until November 2 years. Unfortunately. We don't have that.
Right, I'm just small. And I'm just saying that this is Texas. And while this is unprecedented in uncharted waters, we need bold leadership. And like you said, we cannot depend on the federal government. So while it's scary and unprecedented, it can be done. It can be done. And so I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. And I know that your constituents are just as concerned, if not even more concerned. And we're asking you guys, as the elected officials, as their elected officials, to be bold.
Have you been to your commissioner's court in Tarrant County?
I know something on it, I have not actually seen it.
Okay, just curious. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your driving this
Thank
morning.
you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to stand in recess until 10 o'clock.